This is Dave, and he is going to be doing the second in our staff pick video installment. Dave is very excited to tell you about this artifact here. Why don't you go ahead, Dave?
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sarah. So here at Glanmore National Historic Site, we talk a lot about Mr. and Mrs. Phillips, the first owners and inhabitants of Glanmore. They were very fine, upscale members of society. We don't necessarily think a lot about the people who were below stairs, but we do have a fantastic exhibit. That's the Maid of All Work exhibit, where we do focus on the life of the people who were helping the Phillips look so nice. And I picked an object today that kind of helps tell that story. This is a self-heating iron, or a charcoal iron. It's something that's kind of neat. I personally am quite familiar with the sad irons, even the ones with a removable handle. It's quite a neat object. You can have two bases, put one on the stove, use the other one when it cools down, switch them out, and the wooden handle keeps you from scalding your hand. It's quite a neat invention. But this is a little different, and I'm actually going to move this around so you can see. It's got a little trap door on the back that functions as a damper, so you can actually control the amount of air coming into the iron, and the iron itself opens, and you'd actually put hot coals in there, or charcoal, and have a little fire burning inside the very iron itself. So it's a bit like ironing with a little box stove. There's a beautiful ornament here on the top of a heron or a crane. It's a functional item. It's dirty, but it's got a great deal of ornamentation for something that's a very practical object. It's quite cool. The other thing about it is that I used to do a school program years and years ago at a different museum where I talked about one of these, and I actually made fun of it. I talked about it being a snorkel iron, or an iron used for underwater, because it has this unusual chimney. And I had this vision of some poor woman who'd spent all day Monday washing her clothes, only to start ironing the next day and have smoke billowing out in her face as she was pressing the family linens. I just couldn't see it being a very practical thing, until I met a gentleman from Nepal who called himself Jackie, who told me that actually his mother used these in one of these, just about like this, in his memory. And it is actually a very functional object if you don't have electricity. If you don't have a box stove, it's a great way to heat up the iron and press clothes. And it forced me to take a look at the object and how I'd been understanding it and, in fact, representing it. So it's a very cool object. We have an example of one in a catalog from somewhere between 1880 and 1920. Okay.